Welcome back to the Bryan Devore Connection. I'm your host, Bryan Devore. Who you work with matters. In the world of senior care, it's very important to choose the right person for yourself or for your loved one, especially when it comes to placement and finding the right place for your parent to live. Well, there's no person who I can think of better who can talk about being the right person for the job is my friend Alisha Olson with Majestic Care. Alisha, how are you doing today?
Good, how are you? Thank you for having me, Bryan.
My pleasure. So first I want to talk a little bit about placement. What is placement? People don't really understand necessarily what that is.
Right, so placement is when a senior, it's time to make a move out of the home, so relocation into an assisted living, memory care community, or a boarding care home. So that basically means that living at home is no longer a good option for the senior.
Got it, okay. And tell us a little bit about who you are, your background, because your background is very, I think, unique for this type of a role, but it's super helpful, and why you got into placement.
So I am a nurse by background, as well as a certified placement and referral specialist. My background is in nursing. I've been a nurse over 10 years. I've worked in skilled nursing, case management, I've worked in hospice. So I have a wide background of nursing knowledge. And the reason I got into placement was because when I was doing case management, I saw that families really needed that additional support. They really did not know who to talk to or where to turn when their loved ones can no longer go back home or live successfully at their home. They need to make a move, and a lot of times, families just really, it's uncharted territory for most families. They really don't know when is the best time to do it, or when it becomes a dire situation, if they end up in the hospital or in a skilled nursing facility. And so I saw that there was a niche really that I could fill, being able to help families kind of navigate that process with a nursing background.
Yeah, for sure. So I've always thought that placement is so important because, people are either making the decision proactively, which isn't that often, or reactively when crisis occurs. But they don't know what they don't know. Right. I kind of compare it to when you're getting a divorce. You don't know any divorce attorneys until you need one. Mm-hmm. Well, it's the same type of thing. You don't know what communities are the right ones. There's so many options. Trying to figure out what's the right option would be overwhelming to me. So to have someone who can really walk you through the process or your family through the process is super important. I love your nursing background. So how have you seen that come into play in some of the experiences you've had with your clients?
So I've been able to really help the families understand, how the placement works, as well as also understanding their care needs. So being able to match the care needs of the client to the care needs that the facilities can provide. So being able to kind of navigate that process with the families and coach them through, as well as being able to kind of help them match the care needs with the communities that provide those care needs. And then being able to set up tours in those communities that provide that, and then the families can view them. I think that really is powerful when they can actually go and see the communities, and being able to actually see what it's like, because most families think assisted living is one way, and it's definitely changed. They're beautiful communities, they provide wonderful care. And so I think when families actually are able to go, they're able to see what it's like, and being able to know if that's a right place for their loved one.
And I've been to some of these amazing communities. A lot of the work I do is with seniors who are selling their homes, moving into senior communities. And a lot of them, I see the look on their face when they step in. It's like, this is what it's like?
Right.
Holy cow. I thought it was the old nursing home, but it's not. It's so much better. But there's so much vernacular being thrown at them. There's so many different terminology that comes at them. I would think with the nursing background, you can help decipher it for them. It's like, okay, this is what this really means. This is what this really means. Some are all inclusive. Some don't include care. What does that look like? So I would think that would be really helpful for them.
Right, and being able to simplify the process and kind of put it to them in lay terms so that they can understand what they're being told and what the needs really are, and being able to kind of break it down. I've had really great experiences with clients in the past that I've been able to help their families with placement. We had a woman who was living at home. The spouse passed away, and she could no longer live there, so it was really an emergent move. We were able to find a lovely community that fit her needs, was able to provide what she needed, and I went to visit her after she moved in, and she was a totally different person. So it was proof that if you can help the families and find the proper place, it can be a lasting home for them. And she was doing wonderful after the move-in. So it really just changed from one not doing too well in the home after the spouse passed, and then being able to move in and just engaging in the activities and being able to be a part of the community. I think that really was a wonderful, wonderful, success story that I've had. And I've had others, but that's one that was really, really great for me to experience.
Right. So there's so many parts about that to unpack. Number one, it's a great outcome. Mm-hmm. Number two, it shows, crisis doesn't make an appointment. It just sort of happens, and you got to step in and do it. I would say that the greater percentage of the people you work with are those situations versus, hey, we're thinking about it, we're being proactive. That doesn't happen, unfortunately, quite as much. Usually it's more reactive.
I think so. I think it's usually when families realize that now we're in an emergency situation. They've ended up in the hospital and they can't go home, or they need that care that they can't get at home, or they can't provide or afford in-home care. So I think sometimes placement is the next step, and families it's like they're already in a crisis situation and they're trying to handle this too. So being able to really simplify that and help them, I think, is really beneficial, and I think families should utilize placement agents more because of that. And moving from home is great when people can do a proactive move, but a lot of times that doesn't happen. Most of their seniors want to stay in their homes for as long as they possibly can, and then when it's time, sometimes they wait until it gets to an emergency situation.
Right, and the options are more limited for sure.
Right.
And so you mentioned at the very beginning, you're a certified, give me the exact title.
I'm a certified placement and referral specialist.
Okay.
So what that means is that I am a certified agent that's able to work with families. I'm certified, I've taken an exam and trained to be able to help families navigate the process of placement and senior care options. So it is a certification, which I think there are people that do placement that are not certified, but I think families really should work with someone who is, because they really understand the process and they do it ethically, as well as being able to really break it down for the families and be there as a support for them.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot. Like, for example, I'm regulated by the Department of Real Estate. There's other organizations that regulate, theirs, but placement hasn't had that for the longest time until most recently with NPRA,
right.
National Placement Referral Alliance, which is where you get your certification through.
Correct.
It really is doing a good job of making sure that there's standards mm-hmm. that they adhere to, because we're talking about families' lives. This isn't just anything random. This is something super important. So to have that, I think, is super beneficial.
Absolutely. Like you said, this is very important, and this is a really large, big life change for most of our seniors. This is the first time they've ever had to either move out of their home or families. This is the first time that they've ever had to experience this with a loved one, that they've ever had to come across moving their loved one to an assisted living community. So I think it's a huge step for both the family and the client. So working with someone who really knows the communities, what care they provide at the communities, and what type of care that the client actually needs, I think that's a huge, huge part of what we do for placement.
Absolutely. So to get a hold of this professional who knows what she's doing, her information's on the screen right now. You can give her a call, visit her website, send her an email, get a hold of Alisha. Proactively is best, but if it's not proactive and it's reactive and you're in that situation, still feel free to give her a call. She can help you and help you make all the decisions that you need to make for your loved ones. Alisha, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much, Bryan, for having me.
Pleasure.